Hey, so I just made a really cool Matriarch patch and I want to share it with you guys. It's the kind of patch that it like makes the entire song for you, but it's not generative. You know, I think it's probably the best way to classify it is a techno patch. Even though this channel isn't really about techno, but sometimes it's just so many different timbres, and the way that this one works is based off a square wave. So we got the bass drum when the square wave is on, and then when the square wave's off, we get all these other timbres. So, I mean, this is just so much fun. I keep playing with it, and I keep finding new things to do with it. I'm finding it super inspiring, so I hope you do too. Let's start by making a bass drum. We'll do it with oscillator 4 because we're gonna use this pitch in patch here, and if you plug in something into like oscillator 1 on pitch in, then it'll affect all the others too. So we just want oscillator 4. So let's do our VCA mode into drone. We'll map our main LFO here to trigger the amp envelope, because when it's in drone mode, it's not gonna affect the amplitude anymore. I have this set to a square wave right now also. And let's use this envelope and send it to oscillator 4 pitch. All right, cool. That sounds good, but I would rather that the bass drum didn't come from so high up. So I'm gonna use one of our attenuators to just make it so we don't have so much envelope affecting the pitch. All right, sounds good. My attenuator's at about the +2 position here. Let's add some other elements in. We'll keep it simple by inverting the kick trigger, rather than inverting everything else that we want to happen when the kick isn't playing. Because our general pattern is going to be kick, and then other stuff, then kick, other stuff. And we're going to do that by sending the trigger to the kick, and then when the trigger's off, we're going to trigger other stuff. So let's do that. We'll invert this trigger right here, which is our square wave, by sending it to this attenuator right here. And I already have it inverted. So now when this is off is when it triggers it. And I'm gonna go ahead and mult this out. So we're gonna go from the wave into our mult. And then we have all these other wave outputs that we can use for other things. Let's start by adding noise on the offbeats, so it'll sound kind of like a hi-hat kind of thing. So our noise comes from our modulation module here. Let's go from noise out into our other attenuator here, and then we'll go from our other attenuator into noise in the mixer. Okay, and now we're actually not affecting this with our square wave like we wanted to, because we need to go into the CV. We'll come out of the wave out and into the CV here. All right, cool. That sounds good. For our filters, let's switch it into either the parallel or the series mode. Both of these are pretty cool for this. Let's just play around with it a little bit. lots of cool different levels you can find. And you can use the resonance on filter 1 to get some other timbres. All right, let's add in a third element. We'll go out again from our square wave of our mult, and we'll go actually into our arpeggiator / sequencer clock input, which is on the back panel. Now that we have our arpeggiator being triggered at the same time as everything else, we actually have to turn it on by hitting hold, so it's in its latch mode, and pressing play here. And now the arpeggiator will trigger something, like our note is already playing because we have this drone here. But really what I'm going to use the arpeggiator for is to make our filter go ow, because we have this envelope amount that will run every time this arpeggiator goes. And the great thing about this is that this knob just became a clock divider for whatever's happening here in the modulation. So let's hear it. This is super fun to play around with. The only other thing is to add in this delay here. And really, this is just for drops. Like that's what it's useful for. It's like adds some ambience, sets you back in the mix for a minute. You know, like the higher this mix knob is, the more set back you are. And then you can kind of just like drop it down. So for this time, I've got this synced up. Well, I should hit the sync button to sync it up. I'm gonna sync this up to a 16th note. And then the feedback, I've got a fair amount of feedback. And let's just see what this does here. Well, thanks for watching. If you have any ideas on how to take this patch to the next level, please let me know in the comments, because I'll probably do it, and I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun. I think this is an awesome building block, so let's take it somewhere. Thanks again. See ya.